Why is it so impossible to see beyond the veil? Of course, the veil is a metaphor for the obstacle that the character has between him and himself, the oneness, its true nature, what we are, all nothingness, God, call it what you will. But between the character that identifies itself as a person and this great state, which he already is, there is a thin layer of fabric in the metaphor. It's a veil. And the veil, you would think, is easily removed. It's not a wall of bricks. You don't have to break it. It's not heavy. You can just pull and it will vanish. But apparently, it is an impossible mission to remove the veil or see beyond the veil. Why? First thing is that you don't know that the veil is a veil. Because when a person thinks of a veil, he thinks about something that is not him. The veil in the metaphor is a fabric that you put on your head. In Judaism, you put a veil on the bride, and then the groom just lifts it and sees the bride. It's just something that is not connected to the body. But this is where the metaphor is misleading, because the veil itself is the body. So it's very hard to identify the veil as a veil. You don't see the obstacle as an obstacle because it is not there. You don't know it is a veil. You don't identify the veil as a veil. Even if you believe that this world is an illusion, and you know all the philosophical sides of this idea of oneness, of emptiness, everything is just a concept in your mind and not a reality that you can perceive as yours. The way you know you have a hand and it is yours and it can move. This is what you know. You know you have a hand. You know you have a voice. It is very confusing because you believe that the veil is something that is not you. You know what you are. You are a person. You have a voice, you have a body. This is what you know for sure. Even if your concept or your idea or you learned or you practice that the world is something else, the world is an illusion, the world is empty, but you don't know that. What you know is something else. You know your body, you know yourself as a body. You are identifying in such a way that you cannot grasp the idea that the veil is not something that is separated from you. The veil itself is you. So what you see around you and who you are is the veil. And because this is the situation, it is impossible to identify it as a veil, because even if you think about it, you'll try and just get more and more into this paradox. If the veil is me, where do I start? Where does the veil start? How does it interact? And you cannot solve these problems because the identification is too strong. So in fact, to remove or see beyond the veil is to remove or see your true nature, yourself, and you think you are something specific and you cannot see beyond this point. So in the most simple terms, you cannot, and it is impossible to see beyond the veil because you don't know it's a veil. You think it's you. If you knew it was a veil, it would be very easy to remove it. What's the problem? I'm me, this is the fabric, and so I can do something about it. But what happens when the fabric is you and you don't know it? Maybe you'll say, I don't have to remove the veil, I just have to see beyond the veil. How can you see beyond the veil? The main purpose of a veil is to hide something or to block between something and something. And this is why the veil is the metaphor, because it stands in your way. And this is its purpose, its job, this is what it is supposed to do. The veil allows the character to identify with itself and tell the story of the character. This is what this reality is. Characters telling a story, expressing themselves in various ways, sometimes in healthy ways, sometimes the stories are not so cheering up. They are sad stories, but there is no difference. Behind the veil, there's nothing. This is emptiness. This is what we are. And the veil itself creates the character. The veil and the character are one. So, of course, there is no purpose or meaning. Like you would think about the terms purpose and meanings. In this state, it doesn't have a purpose or a meaning. It doesn't need to have a purpose or a meaning because it's already complete. But in the relative story, and if we are asking ourselves this question, why is it so impossible to see beyond the veil? One thing is to say that we are the veil, and the other thing is to say that the veil has a purpose. It's only doing what it is supposed to be doing, to allow you to express yourself as a character, to hide truth from you. This is what it's meant to do. This is what it does. So it does it in a wonderful way. It completes her task, and it is impossible for you to argue with the fact that there is a veil, that you are not connected directly to yourself, to allow yourself to be who you are, because you planned it, we planned it. The emptiness behind all these physical terms, above, under, behind, they do not exist in the natural state, in what we are, because it is a non-space, it's unlimited, it doesn't follow the rules of physics. So when I say behind the veil, it's also a metaphor, but behind the veil, this great emptiness, this nothingness that we are, planned this veil. So when we want to see beyond the veil, we are basically arguing with ourselves. Why did we put this thing to separate us from ourselves? But the fact is that we did, that this is what we did. So this is the state. And as long as the veil exists, this is what we want. If in Simcha's story, this imagined veil does not disturb the thing itself to see itself anymore, it is because the thing itself, the oneness, what we are, removed it. A character cannot remove the veil by himself. He cannot do this movement. He cannot control this process as a character, as a separate entity. The veil can only be removed or disappear or seen through because we decided that this is the right thing that will happen to the character in this moment, and it was, of course, pre-planned. So there is no point of arguing with the fact that there is a veil and that it is concealing truth from us. Seeing beyond the veil, removing this obstacle between us and ourselves, is seeing directly what is. And directly what is seeing the great emptiness in this imagined, illusory, endless world of phenomena that appear to be real. So identifying the emptiness in this imagined world is seen beyond the veil. When the veil is lifted, when you know yourself, you don't see anything different. You cannot perceive other dimensions. You don't see auras or lights or the inside of people or frequencies or you name it. When the veil is lifted, the thing itself appears in all his glory in it, and it's the same thing. It's the same mundane, boring surrounding that you are at. The moment of self-realization that Simcha had 6 years ago, because she will celebrate her 6th birthday on December the 15th. She was walking through the door and saw just the table, and on the table there were keys. And it was so miraculous, just seeing it for the first time, for the character, to know the quietness and emptiness of everything off the table and the keys on the table. Everywhere she looked, ever since this moment, was the same. When she was driving, the car stayed, the road stayed, the trees stayed, the traffic lights stayed. Everything was the same. It looks like what you see now in your eyes. This is what it looks like. But it is so, so different, because it shines with the light of eternity. It shines wherever you look, wherever you turn your eyes to. The thing you look at, you see this immense beauty of expression. You see inside the phenomena the emptiness of the phenomena. It's like it looks real, but you know it's not. You know that it is an illusion of an object. You know that. You know you see some kind of a hologram, but it's not a hologram, because holograms are projected and then they have some kind of existence. This is not a hologram. It's just not there, and you know it. You know it with the certainty that you cannot imagine how certain something can be. It's not someone who is certain. This is certainty itself. Take the term certainty in the dictionary, just this vague idea, and be it. Be this definition of certainty, not someone who is certain. Oh, I'm certain that I know that. No, this is certainty. This is what it is. And this is what you see beyond the veil. You see the same thing. And yet, when the identification drops, this glorious act of mercy towards yourself, you no longer have this veil, but you know that the appearance is the veil, like the character that remains is some kind of a disguise, a costume that you play along with. And this is a great act of mercy towards ourselves, to see beyond the veil. Maybe you can ask yourself, if you want, and it's the paradox of what you can do, because I'm saying we already did that, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's like an act of grace. But there are things you can do, and their possibility always exists. If you cannot identify the veil to know that it is a veil, and the veil is there for a purpose, you can only accept the fact that this is what is happening at the moment. This is the plan for you at this very moment. And you know that there is no moment, and the possibility of removing the veil is always open, because metaphorically you are not there, so the veil is not there, so this whole process doesn't even have to take place. It's okay, it's already there. And to accept the place and accept the veil and accept it for what it is to show compassion towards yourself, because judging yourself is not helping the process. Judging yourself for not making a progress or objecting to the fact that you are not close enough, you're not making enough progress, you will never get there, is like when you have a child and you don't believe in the child. If you know, who of you who has children, you know how important it is to make the child feel secure and confident to express himself. This, for me as a mother, as Simcha the mother, was and is very important. You can do it. I always say, you can do it, and I believe you, I trust you. It's wonderful. Oh, you tried. Wow, this is so interesting, the way you tried. Never mind the outcome. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. I don't care. I only care that he tried, she tried. She made an effort. She was creative, he was trying. And this is the most important thing, to allow yourself to continue to explore this possibility, but not judge yourself, because this thing is just pure compassion, and the act of self-realization and enlightenment is pure compassion towards the character. You help the character to stop the suffering. It's the greatest gift you can give a character in this illusion of a world, and it comes out of great compassion. But if you don't have this compassion towards yourself as a character, how can this oneness, which is you, have the same compassion and do this for you? Let the grace just lift this veil for you, because you have so much compassion on yourself. So the thing is to accept this state. This is what we created, what we started. There is a purpose to this expression. Maybe you can do it, this expression of yourself, in a more healthy and in a way that helps others, in a way that is more creative and loyal to yourself, and then you have more compassion towards yourself. There is lightness in the way you treat yourself, and this is the way that this grace can come to you. It's a self-inflicted grace. You give the grace to yourself. But if as a character you are very judgmental and you don't accept yourself or the state you are in, it will be hard for you to see beyond the veil, or even impossible. So the veil is there, and it is the world around you. It is the illusion. It is you. This is the veil. It's not something that you can willingly remove or see beyond. It's there for a reason, and the best thing you can do is just accept the fact that you did that to yourself, and have great, enormous compassion towards yourself, and just playfully, like the children that you can hear in the background, playfully and lovingly nourish yourself, trust yourself, encourage yourself, accept yourself. in this process, and hopefully you will discover the truth and be the thing that you are already behind